a hot topic at the moment, color and color trends. I've had a lot of people inquire and ask me about color trends and forecasts for this year. And guess what? That is exactly what I'm going to be showing you in today's video. We're going to look at some of the top color forecast trends for the year 2022, as well as some practical tips on how you can incorporate these trends into your spaces. For those of you who don't know, each year leading paint companies release their top trends of color palettes for the following year. In this video, I'm going to show you some of my personal favorite color trends that the leading trend experts have forecasted for this year, 2022, as well as how you can bring them into your spaces in a very practical way. What are we waiting for? Let's dive right into our color forecast trends for 2022. Color number 1, green. The color green, I'm sure most of you have been seeing everywhere, from clothing, fashion, accessories, right into interior spaces. This is a color trend that most forecasters have added to their color trend palette for the year 2022. This color seems to be the color of the year, and for very good reason. Let's take a look why. Why green? Well, there's definitely a strong movement to connecting with the outdoors and nature, and we do this using green to reflect the natural environment around us. Right, so what greens in particular? As we know, there are so many varieties of greens out there, but particularly the forecasted trend for 2022 are your more muted greens, your neutral greens, greens that can be paired with other colors like your blues, your neutrals, and your yellows. We're also looking at greens that we are taking directly from nature, hence the idea that we're bringing nature into our indoor spaces. What are our characteristics of green? What can we typically see from the color green? Green is typically a color that screams freshness and tranquility, and that's exactly what we're wanting to bring into our spaces. After all, isn't that what we've been striving for after the past couple of hard years that we've had? Your green selection for this year by Benjamin Moore Paint Specialist is October Mist and High Park. How do we bring this color into our spaces? Let's take a look. Right, so as we know, and as you've probably seen on our Design Trends Forecast video 2022, we're all about bringing peace and serenity into our spaces. We're trying to create cozy, warm, neutral spaces, and that's exactly what your color green is going to do for you. Green is typically known to be quite a versatile color, especially when used in muted and neutral tones. So let's take a look at exactly how we can bring this green into our space and why we love it so much. Some examples of how to bring green into your spaces could be in the form of shades of green. Shades of green from a darker green right to a lighter green. And then this can also be paired with shades of gray and white. And this color scheme, you would be looking at a monochromatic color scheme. Your second example would be shades of blue mixed with your green, and this is an analogous color scheme. You can typically use also muted kind of forms of blue with your muted forms of green, and that will create quite a nice accented area in your green space. Now, for those of you who are feeling bold and vibrant, you can pair your green with a pink or a coral to create a complementary color scheme. Trend forecasted color number 2 for 2022, buttery yellow. As I'm sure most of you have seen through a variety of elements from fashion, accessories to interiors, we are all striving for more lighter, brighter, fun areas and elements. And that is not to say that we're not doing that in our interiors as well. In fact, that is exactly what our next color is going to do for us, the buttery yellow. Why yellow, you may ask? Well, this color is not an overpowering color, and it brings a sense of happiness and lightness to one's space, which is exactly what we're looking for. Let's take a look at some of the characteristics that yellow can bring into our spaces. Firstly, this color is known to be an incredibly warm color. It's a creative color, and it's known for the ability to promote clear thinking and happiness in one's space. Your selected color yellow by Benjamin Moore for 2022 is the pale moon yellow, and we can see exactly why. Look at the beautiful buttery texture of this yellow. Right, so how can we bring this color into our spaces? Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Typically, because yellow is not exactly a color you want to be mixing with a variety of other colors, otherwise it's going to create a sense of urgency and rushness within the space, you're wanting to look at more kind of neutral colors such as your grays and your whites. However, that's not to say that if you're feeling a little bit vibrant or edgy, you can add or you can't pair yellow with one or two other colors. But keeping it minimal is key. Here are some of the examples you can look at. So firstly, you want to look at creating an accent wall with shades of yellow. So you can bring in yellow with your neutrals, and then yellow obviously would be your accented wall. Next, you can look at pairing yellow with whites and marbled grays. And another option would be to add a blue and a yellow together, creating a contrasting space with your complementary colors. Now, blue and yellow are typically colors that go very well together, but remember, use them sparingly. Selected color for 2022, number 3 is Dusty Blue. A timeless classic as we see the re-entry of blue for 2022. This color touches on our inner antique or vintage designer, as we've seen is a very big trend as we looked at the trends forecast video for 2022. Why blue, you may ask? This timeless warm color seems to be an absolute crowd favorite, as it can be paired with a variety of colors, creating a beautiful interior. Let's take a look at the characteristics. So what do you think the characteristics are of this wonderful dynamic color? There you have it, there's a hint. This color is known to be fresh and airy. It has soothing and calming properties to it. And one of my favorite elements of this color is it has a soul rejuvenating quality to it. Blue is associated with renewal and tranquility. The selected blues for 2022 by Dulux is a bright skies blue, and by Farrow and Ball, they have selected the stone blue. Right, so now we know exactly what blue shades and tones we're going to be bringing into our spaces. Let's look at how we can bring them into our spaces and what we can pair them with. Firstly, blue can be paired with neutral textures. Using a lot of textures with your blue is going to keep that contemporary feel to a space. Some of the textures you can look at are woven baskets, cladded walls, and stone wall finishes. Next, you want to pair your blue with a neutral tone, making blue the accent color in the space. This is going to bring about a feeling of tranquility and calmness. Blue can be paired with a bright or high contrasting color. So you want to look at pairing blue with a green or a yellow or even a pink, making a really fun and playful interior. A handy tip here, blue is best suited for a calm and neutral space. So be sure to pair a blue or add a blue to a space where you're wanting a sense of peacefulness, relaxation, and tranquility. Color trend number 4, Wild Orange. Now, this is one of my absolute all-time favorite colors for 2022, as it can be used in both spring and summer, as well as autumn and winter. This color typically reminds me of the rolling sand on a desert hill. This color is warm and comforting with touches of elegance. This desert shade combines traditional rusty orange terracotta while keeping the spirit of leisurely desert with a hint of pink. Right, so why this color? Why orange? Orange is a very vibrant color and used in spaces to bring about a sense of luxury and glamour without the harsh intensity of bold colors. Here are some of the characteristics of orange that you can use when bringing it into your space. This color is known to be very vibrant and allows joy in a space, brings about a sense of joy to your interiors. It's a very warm color, hence the desert tones and the clay terracotta. It's an incredibly happy color as well as a fun color. This color is a social color and known for enhancing spaces and typically used for a space where you have a lot of social gatherings. Benjamin Moore has selected the Wild Flower as their color selection for 2022, and Dulux has selected the Terra del Fuego. Both colors exceptionally beautiful. Let's take a look at how you can bring this beautiful color into your space. Starting off by pairing this color nicely with a neutral or a white. This color is really going to stand out if you've got a white or a really soft gray next to it. If you don't feel like painting an entire wall in this orange color or this terracotta color, you can actually also bring it in with the use of accessories. So smaller elements paired with a really nice neutral backdrop. If you're feeling wild, you can pair this color with an emerald green or a nice charcoal gray. And lastly, and this is possibly a tip or a word of warning, avoid quiet spaces when you're wanting to bring this color in. This color is going to create a sense of vibrancy and excitement within the space. So essentially, you don't want to put this color into a yoga studio. Our last color for today's video, it's all about neutrals. Where would we be without neutrals? For those of you who have seen our trends forecast video for 2022, you'll know that I am neutrals' biggest fan. Why? Because it is such a versatile color palette. When we speak about comfort, timelessness, and calmness, my mind automatically goes to a neutral color palette. These colors and this color palette can be used to carry almost any other color in the design color spectrum. They are so very popular as they play a massive role in the contemporary style, and that is exactly what's trending at the moment as well. So if you hear elements and terms such as Japandi and Scandi, that is exactly what I'm talking about, and something that you should be aware of as well. So why neutrals? Why is neutrals hot on the trends forecast for 2022? Well, besides the fact that they are so versatile and they can carry any other color palette, they are also calming colors and colors that enhance a space. Let's take a look at some of the characteristics of a neutral color palette. This palette is known to be a peaceful color palette, calming, it creates a sense of wholeness, and lastly, this color palette screams reliability. So in essence, if you're wanting a calm, tranquil, reliable space, go with a neutral color palette. Benjamin Moore has selected Hint of Violet, Stream, and Collector's Item for this color trend. And in Dulux, we are seeing the Dewdrop Gray. So as you can see, when we speak about a neutral color palette, we are not typically referring to one color, but a variety of neutrals. And that kind of varies and goes from your whites right up to your grays, touching on your beiges and your stones. So anywhere in that color spectrum can be classified as a neutral color. How do we bring this color or color palette into our interiors? Well, it's incredibly easy, but here are a couple of pointers. Firstly, depending on the shade, you can pair a neutral with any color on the color spectrum, and that is exactly what makes this neutral color palette so popular. Next, it's really nice to create, using this color to create an accent wall. So painting 3 walls white or light gray, and then adding a charcoal, a wildflower, or your dusty blue to your final wall to create that accent color. Alternatively, you can use this color palette to paint an entire space and use tones of that color to accent or enhance certain areas within your home. And lastly, this color is fantastic to quieten a space or soften a space. So if you've got a very busy space, maybe you've got lots of pinks and greens, or even maybe very dark colors, you can automatically add a neutral color, a subtle neutral color or a lighter neutral color to that space, and you're going to make it a little bit more calmer, just like that. And there you have it, your full guide to color trends for 2022. These are some of the main colors that you can use in your home. Do not fear if you don't want to use all of them or you don't like all of them. You don't have to. Even just selecting one is going to put you at the top of the trends for 2022. For those of you who are wanting to dig a little bit deeper into color, wanting a little bit more information and how to incorporate color into your spaces, we've got an amazing masterclass on color on our Planner 5D channel. So do be sure to go and check that out. And there you have it. That's a wrap for today's video on color trends for 2022. Please do hit subscribe if you're liking the content, and as you know, I love to hear from you. Please leave comments down below if there's anything else you're wanting to see or any information you would like me to elaborate on. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.